These are beef ribs, but not just any beef ribs. They're called Konro Bakar and they're freaking delicious. And they're juicy and tender. And here is how you make them.
Big thanks to Kamada Joe for sponsoring this episode.
I don't know if you know who Mark Wiens is, but if you don't know who he is, then you definitely need to look him up. He's been traveling around the world for over 10 years to find the best food out there. And one of the things that he found are these beef ribs. There's a famous restaurant in Indonesia that make these specific beef ribs. Basically, these are beef ribs that are cooked in a soup. And from that soup, they are dipped in a sauce and then grilled and served up with a peanut sauce and a little bit of sambal. Now, if that doesn't grab your attention, I don't know what does. And Mark Wiens did 2 videos on it. One 7 years ago, one a year ago, and I've been dreaming about making these ever since. These are the beef ribs that I'm gonna use. And just like the original recipe, they don't have a lot of meat on them. And that's because this originally is a waste product. And so are mine, because I got them on a nice sale for 10 euros a kilogram. And I'm super happy with that price. Now the neat thing about this recipe is that we don't have to do any preparations and these are good to go. This recipe is built up out of multiple layers of flavors. First thing that we need to do is make a boemboe, which is basically like a spice paste, like a curry paste, something like that. I'm gonna take these 12 small shallots, I'm gonna peel them and chop them fine. And from this ginger root, I'm taking a large thumb-sized piece and I'm going to chop that up too. The next ingredient is about the same size curcuma, 4 large cloves of garlic, and then these small reviet peppers. I'm gonna add 7. I'm gonna put all this in the pan with a little bit of oil to fry. And I'm also gonna add some terasi, cinnamon, and cloves. If you like the written down version for that, of course it's on our website. And I'm gonna fry this until I have a nice looking boemboe. Whoa! This is why I love Indonesian food. It's so super powerful. It's like, if you're wondering why Mark Wiens always look like this, whoa! Oh man! That's because of this. And then I'm going to split this up into 2 portions. One is going to be for the soup, and the other half is what we're going to use later on in the recipe. Now that we have our boemboe, making the soup is super easy because all I need now is my stainless steel Scotsburg pan, which is large enough to put the beef ribs in. I'm going to put in some lemongrass, I'm going to break it up so it releases its flavor. I'm going to add the super powerful boemboe, add hot water until the beef ribs are submerged, and bring it to a slow simmer. After 2.5 hours of simmering, it's time to check on the beef ribs. And this is the thing that we need to understand, that these beef ribs cannot be cooked in the way that we smoke them. Basically, there's another step coming and we can't take it too far. So I gotta be careful that they don't fall off the bone. And that happens real quick when you put them in a soup. Let's take the ribs out and get a closer look at them. Oh, definitely look freaking amazing. And as you can see, the fat has rendered down out of the beef. And that is exactly what I'm looking for. I want to see if that fat rendered down, the collagen rendered down, and we now have smooth. I might have already gone too far. Just on its own weight, it just falls through. I'm a bit scared now. I hope that I didn't mess this up. I'm going to let these cool down a little bit. Wow, we make our next sauce. Oh, no, there's another sauce coming, but this is the second sauce. And you might wonder, all these sauces, is that really necessary? And yes, trust the process. I'm gonna get a little bit of that soup, and it's so freaking amazing. And we're gonna reduce it a little bit. I need enhanced flavors. I'm gonna get 2 of these spoonsful, which is about 2 cups. And I'm gonna reduce that down to 1 cup. I'm also gonna add half a cup of sweet soy sauce. Now, the brand does matter. I'm using ABC. You can use Boemboe, but you kind of want to stick with the real Indonesian sweet soy sauces, otherwise known as kecap manis. And if you know a thing or two about the Indonesian cuisine, you do know they like their things sweet. And with things, I mean basically everything. And that's why I'm adding a 1/4 cup of sugar. In this case, it's raw cane sugar. And then we're going to reduce this all the way down until it's a sticky syrup. And you can already see from the bubbles, the slow bubbles, that this is a very sticky sauce. And I'm serving up this soup table side, so I'm gonna put on a little bit of salt as a soup, this is already freaking amazing. It's a nice beef stock that I'm gonna put on the side with some noodles. Yes, one more sauce. Heat up your Scotsburg pan with some peanut oil, add a cup of peanuts and half a cup of cashew nuts. Fry them until they're nice and toasty, add half the Boemboe that you saved, and once everything is nice and fried up, let it cool down before you put it in the kitchen machine. The consistency is now good. We have a nice paste. Of course, we need to taste it. Oh man, it is so tasty already, but we haven't added any salt. So with a little bit of salt, we can boost the flavors enormously. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons worth of salt, and that will turn this into the best peanut sauce you ever had. The original flavor profile. I quit. This is the best thing ever. Wow, so good. When the sauce is ready, all I need to do is brush it on a little bit, get some flavor and some sugar to stick to it, and now I can start grilling. Now the whole grilling technique is super simple. You're just gonna take the beef ribs and just start grilling them. But what you really want to achieve is to complement a sticky outside to the already tender beef ribs. We don't need to do any cooking. We just wanted to crispen up, for the sugars to caramelize and get some more flavor on. Yes, even more flavor. Now I've got the pan with the sauce still on the grill, so I can keep brushing while grilling. The trick is to have a little bit of a low fire, medium heat. To get some of that caramelization on. And this is still spicy. Those red peppers, they really pack a punch. But more importantly, they have a lot of flavor. So I'm just gonna keep brushing this on until I build up that beautiful crust. And you see that the fat that is rendering down into fire causes a little bit of flare up. That's just fine. I want that crunchy bit. I want that grilled charcoal flavor on this piece of meat. But it's so tender now and it's so delicate. Maybe I have one more flip in this, but I want to give it a little bit more time. Not time on the clock. Oi, 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 oi. This is gonna be so good. Now, we got the sticky ribs, but we haven't put our peanut sauce on yet. Look at that. Our beautiful peanut sauce, mandatory. You gotta have some peanut sauce on this. And if you're from Indonesia, you're also gonna put some sambal on this. Well, personally, sambal is gonna make it even more hot. And to my taste, it's already nice and hot. But this is it. This is, oh, that's hot too. I put it on the grill. I just could drizzle on a spoon of that dipping sauce. Now, it's official. This is the finished product. Ooh, it's so tender. Oh, look. I don't want it to go off the bone. I'm not gonna take it off the bone. I'm just gonna carefully cut this and hope that it stays on. That's how tender this is. Whoa. I'm gonna do the taste test like Mark Wiens does the taste test. First you put on your big Mark eyes and then you bite into it. This is ridiculously stupid tasty. This is so good, just look at my bite. It's like grandmas could suck this off the bone. Now to be honest, I still prefer the smoked beef ribs because they have a little bit more flavor to them in themselves, because you have more beef flavor. You don't boil all of that out of it. But the outside, the sauces, the crust, that is so good. This is definitely worth giving it a try. Ja.
Geen Koningmax voor nodig.
Koningmax?
Hoe heet die?
Zeker geen Koningmax. Tuurlijk niet. Wat is dit nou weer? Ja, nou gaat Koningmax nooit met onze video's sponsoren. Dat kunnen we wel vergeten.